Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. I hope everybody's having a good Friday evening. I wanted to do a video today on the 1-2 system that Vitalize Seed offers and some other products that we offer that go along with that system throughout the planting season, whether it's being a seed coating or if it's going to be a foliar treatment or if it's something that's more towards building up the soil. So I wanted to start with myself standing in a field here of carbon load. So we were getting ready to actually, that day we were planting the nitro boost into this field. The reason I wanted to start with that is to kind of give people who had just planted carbon load this past fall an idea of to what it's going to look like and when you should be planting. So you could let this get a little bit more mature. Obviously you could plant a little bit less. Just depends on your really your termination method thereafter. If you're looking to mow this off, you could do it now. If you're looking to use an herbicide, clearly you could do that now, or at the stage of this picture. Obviously, if you're going to look for crimping, you might want to let it get a little bit more mature, just to ensure higher kill off across the multi-species of cover crops that are in the carbon load. But when you walk through this field, you would see all of your grains, your winter wheat, winter rye, oats, triticale, etc. Then you would see a plethora of the annual clovers that we have in there: Fixation Balanza, Crimson, Frosty Berseem, etc. So that's just a quick highlight as to what it would look like if you planted the fall carbon load this spring. If you're starting with the Nitro Boost, that's fine. You're just going to be starting with a blank slate, and we'll get into that, what that looks like and what that does for your soil next. So clearly the main goal of Nitro Boost is going to be fixing nitrogen. Obviously, you can see the nitrogen fixation here on this plant root system. Again, we don't want to just fix nitrogen with legumes. We want to have a very diverse mix. So we're going to have things like with really good tap roots, such as our sunflowers and sun hemps and things like that, as well as soybeans that are good for ruminant browsers, so white-tailed deer in most cases. But we also want to have things like sorghum. They're going to be drought tolerant and are going to create thatch and also sequester nutrients from deep in the soil profile. Now, when you plant this into that carbon load is going to be decomposing, feeding all of this nitro boost. And this nitro boost is going to aid in that by being a little bit heavier in the legume function that's going to help cycle that carbon load that was previously planted. Again, if it's your first time planting nitro boost, that's okay, because you're going to follow it with carbon load and you're going to start to cycle thereafter. You know, one of the things that's so beautiful about diversity in plantings is that depending on the property and the soil fertility and the field and the deer density, there always seems to be a different response to exactly what that field might look like. So here's actually a field on my farm of a picture that was taken of the Nitro Boost. And you can see just how great the sorghum did. And this was loaded with buckwheat and peas and beans and lab and everything else, and it fed a ton of deer, and it really smothered out of the weeds. Actually, following this year, we didn't even use herbicide. We no-till drilled right through this field and then just went right on to the next one, and it fed deer all winter and all into the next spring with that particular year's carbon load. So what are some things that we do to further ensure success for ourselves and for our growers and customers? Well, we offer Seed Armor, which is a rhizobium broad spectrum inoculant to ensure that all of your legumes are going to be fixing nitrogen or have the right bacteria that they need to fix nitrogen. And we also put a humic substance in there to aid in seed germination rate, root establishment, nutrient retention, etc., right around that seed. And that's a seed coating. So you open that packet up, looks just like this. You open it up, you put it on the seed, and we have a video on the website that kind of shows you what that looks like. We wanted to take that one step further and offer seed feed. We've been selling a lot of this. We did a bunch of testing. You can check out our YouTube on it. But what this is again, it's a seed coating. Been used in the ag industry for a long time. It's all natural, NPK, calciums, etc. And also humic substances. So why is that important? We're going to retain nutrients with those humics. We're going to aid in seed germination. You're going to put it right on the seed. And it's things like phosphorus and potassium that tend to get bound up in the soil, especially in no-till environments. A lot of guys are interested in no-till. We are as well. We're big proponents of it. We want to push our soils towards biological focus. So by putting a little bit of nutrients, just a little tiny bit on the seed, it allows that seed to get established. It allows it to have that little bit of P and K right there on the seed. That seed gets established there. The nutrients are soluble, they get solubilized, and that seed can immediately take it up, get a good strong root establishment in, and then let biology take over. So the Seed Armor comes with the packet. It's like an insurance policy for your seed to make sure you have the right bacteria. It's inside the seed bag. The seed feed is an additional product, but think of that as exactly as it sounds. It's feeding the seed, it's feeding those young seedlings, and it goes right on the seed. So in preparation, what a lot of guys are asking, well, what can I do now? What can I do now? I've been spreading our Vitalize micros. So again, this is basically every micronutrient that you would need as far as your major micros, except iron. The reason we left iron out is iron's relatively inexpensive, number one. And number two, a lot of the soils that we look at have a high amount of iron in them. So we decided to leave iron out. This product also does have a little bit of calcium and sulfur, as we also see oftentimes those are low as secondary nutrients. So we wanted to kind of have an all-encompassing micronutrient that's going to offer you your calcium, your sulfur, your micronutrients. And again, you'll see a trend here, but we also use a humic substance to bring all this together and help to promote that biology and nutrient retention in the soil. I've been using this with my lime now as that soils are expanding, freezing, thawing, raining, spring rains, etc. It's getting worked down into the soil. It's just going to build up those micronutrients a little bit. So it's kind of a soil build program type of product. And it's one that I think is well worth it. It's only like 20 to 25 pounds to the acre. So a single bag can cover up to 2 acres or 2 applications if you want to spread them out over a year on a single acre. Couple other products I'll touch on, before getting into the carbon load again is, our fish fertilizer plus humics. So this product is one that, you've planted your nitro boost, or you planted your carbon load last year, you're getting ready to plant your nitro boost again, you terminated your carbon load, you planted your nitro boost, and you just want to give those plants a boost. You can spray fish fertilizer plus humics. Again, you'll see that trend with the humics continuing to help to stabilize nutrients and promote good growth, and also jumpstart microbial populations. So you could spray this right on the carbon load thatch if you're planting into that carbon load thatch to help jumpstart that microbial life and cycle those nutrients. And of course, you can use this as a foliar spray, whether it be on orchards or onto the plants themselves. The big key with any foliars is make sure that you are not spraying them in the middle of the heat of the day. You want to spray them early in the morning or late in the evening, and not right in the heat of the day. They don't have the best absorption when they're doing that. And also, if you're going to be using this or mixing it with any herbicide, some people want to do that with a burn down because they want to have the glyphosate burn down the crop, and then they want the fish fertilizer to be there as nutrients to help cycle that crop that was burned down. My recommendation is always do a jar test because there's a lot of variability in water type and things like that before you just go ahead and fill up your sprayer. You want to make sure it doesn't gum it all up. But if you want to do that, we haven't seen any negative effects from people trying it so far, but definitely every situation is a little bit different. So always do a jar test with your water and your sprayer type and your mix ratio to make sure it's going to work for you. But the key here is going to be foliar as well as what we call a ground soak. And you can do this. A single gallon covers up to several acres. You only need a few ounces per gallon of water. So check that out for the fish fertilizer plus humics. One other product that I'll talk about before getting into the carbon load is the Tanio Spectrum Plus Myco. So we partner with Tanio because they just do a good job and they have great products. A lot of guys are tilling, they're on degraded soils, and one of the things that we know, specifically for those guys in sandy soils or soils that have been tilled, one of the most important things we can do is stimulate mycorrhizal fungi within our soil profiles. It creates glomalin, it creates soil aggregation, it helps solubilize nutrients, it expands your root mass by volume, by literally incorporating itself into the root system. Hence, mycorrhizal fungi is root fungus. So this is, again, it's like an insurance policy. I'm not going to say that you're going to put this down, you're going to grow 300 bushel per acre corn, but I've used it. I've been really, really happy with the results so far. I'm using it about every other planting, and it's relatively inexpensive. I think it's like $45 covers an acre, and you just put a little bit on the seed, mix it up similar to the other products. I've used all three together and been really, really happy with the results. So that is Spectrum Plus Myco. And then, guys, we're all the way back now to, we're getting ready. Let's pretend it's August or end of July or September, depending on where you're at in the country. And we're going to be putting in our carbon load again. Obviously, our carbon load is 16 species of highly diverse mixes, and it benefits everything from the soil to obviously white-tailed deer. We have a lot of guys, myself included, who are big-time hunters, and it really feeds a heck of a lot of white-tailed deer, feeds a heck of a lot of soil, and it will feed the soil from the time you plant it all the way up to the spring, like in the first picture that I started with. So keep that in mind, guys. You can use those products on the spring planting on the seed, on the fall planting. You can use the foliar, the micros. You can use the foliar on both plantings. You can use it as a ground soak, and of course you can use the micros now with lime. You could put it down in the summer. You can put it down before your fall planting. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. That's a little bit more about our process, the 1-2 process, and some additional options that you have to get the most out of your soil and your food plots or farm or garden this summer. Thanks so much, guys. Check us out at vitalizeseed.com.